We are working on the gas lines routing, you know, for the gas utilities here for the camper. I'm gonna do my best to show how it was without having it installed in the camper. The gas lines were routed out of the propane storage tank to the outside of the camper with a bunch of T's, and all the fittings were on the outside of the camper. I don't know exactly why this was, but the gas lines were run on the exterior of the aluminum, which in my opinion makes them very vulnerable. The reasoning I think that they did this is to, you know, all of the T'd connections for the flare copper fittings were on the exterior, and if they were to leak, then it'll leak outside, but every single appliance that runs off of gas has a connection inside. So it's gonna, they're going inside. I'm not having these things outside. I don't like it. This is the propane tank storage. I'm on the driver's side front of the camper. This would be the main, you know, these two lines go to a tank, and then there's your regulator, and then that goes right through with a bulkhead style fitting. Don't mind the kittens. This is the layout of the gas lines. Driver's side would be over here. The front of the camper is facing this way for how this layout is. There's the bulkhead. This is going to be confusing again, guys. You know, there's the bulkhead that I just showed in the propane storage tank that goes to a main line that went outside through that little area there, goes down into all these T'd fittings, all outside at this point. Then it gets, this is the crossover that is on the inside and then goes back on the outside, and then goes to the hot water heater, and there's a T over here, and then it also goes to the stove. On this side, there's a T down here, which goes, I'm not showing it, but it goes to the fridge. And then over here, this one will go to the furnace. So that's how it's laid out. I'm gonna take all of these copper lines, salvage what I can. All the brass fittings I'm obviously gonna use if they're good. And I'm going to bring all of them on the inside. I'm going to have to bend them. I don't know. We're going to see how we're going to do this. But we're replacing the regulator, and we're just got to see what we can make out of this. So we have the old hose here for that goes into the regulator, and it is clogged with probably mud dauber or something they call them things, don't they? Wasps that chew on mud. We are going to blow this thing out. See how she goes. Ooh. Nice. So this is the old regulator. I gotta get to some of the fittings. Robertson screws. There it is. Here is the old regulator, and they just had screws holding it in that you saw me remove. Here's the new regulator. It's a 2-stage regulator, and there are holes that are, this is aluminum, and there are holes that are not tapped yet. So it's the perfect size for a 1032 tap, which I have. So I'm going to tap those holes without even drilling them. We're going to have a wall update here. You know, we haven't had a wall update in a long time. In your guys' world, it's fast. But here we go, we got the next wall, the lower wall there for the nook, the breakfast nook, battery access or utilities access. This will be a countertop. You know, you have your closet wall there. There's another wall here, we got a fridge wall. So that's your side wall to breakfast nook. We got the fridge floor. And we have the bunk to fridge side wall. All tied in. We got the old spunkies going on here. We should release them. Release the tension. Oh. Oh, samurai sword. This is insulation. I glued this insulation up. That's what those sticks were holding. And that's actually going to be kind of on the exterior in a way because the fridge isn't insulated from the outside when it's in this area. Well, anyway, there it is. We're gonna install this hose, which is for the output of the regulator into the manifold. It's pipe threads, so we're gonna need some pipe tape. You have to get special yellow pipe tape for gas, propane, so that it's compatible. The input goes through, these two lines go to each tank. There's a T here with check valves in it to only allow it to go one way, and that gets threaded into the input here. Goes through and then goes through to the output into the manifold. Here's the inside of the propane tank storage compartment, and there's the other side of the 1/2-inch fitting size flare bulkhead. The regulator sits right here, and then obviously the tanks are in here. So I'm going to hook all this up and see, put some tanks in here and see if it leaks, or how about let's see where it leaks. The regulator gets mounted back in there, and then this hose gets mounted to the bulkhead. Jesus. Gets mounted to the bulkhead, and then these actually, well, these go right to the tank. So here's the rigged scenario. Just don't have the regulator mounted, but it's all, the fittings are hooked up. Oh, something's leaking. That one don't leak. Oh, it's leaking out of the hose here. Good, so we'll try it with one tank on, which it's on. We're gonna go on the other side and check for leaks. So right now this whole area is pressurized. Right there. One of these two lines is leaking. I gotta figure it out. You're looking at the back side of the furnace. This is the exhaust. There's usually a exhaust ventilation system that gets pushed in on this side for the intake of the furnace, as well as the exhaust, so that the heat goes away from the camper. And we're gonna take this nice piece of 4-inch pipe or 5-inch pipe. We're gonna lay that thing right on there. There's your exhaust pipe right there, buddy. Get that thing away from the camper a little bit when we run this beast. Got the propane storage compartment out. It's pretty crusty, Got the old dingle hoppers here. We're gonna take these out. We're gonna take this aluminum trim off. It's got butyl tape behind it. Clean that up. This one's, see, get it all out. Sand her down. Paint. Got the flange lip here. I'm overhanging it on the workbench with a steel cap on it. Shoving it up against it so you have a nice surface, and to straighten out all of these little flanges where the screws go through. The completed propane tank storage compartment with the new regulator. Old lines, they'll be replaced later. I think I got hit with the flames.